this year I will get down our schedule. So it's Tuesday into, for us moving forward, it'll be a little bit different because we'll already have the game on Saturday, had a Sunday night practice, and then a Tuesday practice now that we're going in the morning. But you guys will have to kind of remind me on the things I need to hit. But I appreciate you being here and making the adjustments on around our practice times to get the opportunity to talk to our kids on their, the Mondays are off days, so we can't get together on that day. But I do appreciate your continued coverage of our team and our student athletes. And I think it doesn't need to go by that I don't mention the coverage that you guys give us and provide for our student athletes has the ability to tell their story to the outside world, so to speak, on some of the things that maybe they would never know about our roster. And I appreciate the work that you guys do with that. Gabe, happy birthday. I would say you're an old man, but I think we're about the same age, so happy birthday. I've got a pretty good voice, but after a morning practice I probably shouldn't break out into tune on that. But,
I appreciate that.
I learned that we passed out numerous depth charts this morning. I don't know which one's right and which one's wrong, but as you look at across the country, I guess I need to get with the times. The popular thing to do, I guess, is not put one out. So lessons learned. I'll see if I can make some changes moving forward on that. I wanted to put ours out there, and I didn't put enough oars listed. I understand that too. I've learned that as I walk down the stairs. So we will play a number of guys. We're going to play, I think, not because we're not solidified on our depth or starters, but I think we've recruited well, and I think we've got a group of guys that have come in from the start of camp, but even prior to that, for summer ball. Prior to that, you get into spring practice, and prior to that, our Winning Edge program. The focus and the mindset, the way that these guys have approached since our bowl game last year, it's been focused, it's been determined, it's been very direct, and it's mainly because of the senior class that we have and the directive that they've given. It's been a fun group to work with. I also challenged them that we're going to have some adversity. They know that, and then how are we going to respond when it's not sunny and 75 out, when the bullets are flying, so to speak, and we've got to rally the troops and come together and stay together. That's going to happen. It always does throughout the course of the season. And then how do they handle success? That's another issue that you talk about openly because we're going to have some success. And then how do you handle it? You're never as good as everybody's telling you, and you're never as bad as everybody's telling you. It's somewhere always in between. But our focus on making sure that we prepare the right way, that we understand the process on what we need to do for us to play our best, from being able to prepare or being able to get into the final 48 hours before we play a game and handling that the right way, and also get into the game and the moment and live in the right here and right now in that moment, and taking one play at a time. Don't look up and look at the scoreboard, good or bad. Stay focused on the task at hand. So we've spent a lot of time talking about that within our program. I'm excited for these guys to go play one opportunity on Saturday for 3.5 hours and kind of see how we stack up and where we are. I was looking last night, going through a tentative travel list, and we're going to travel 23 to 26 guys that have never traveled with us before. So there's a number of guys that will be the first time, and that's okay. We just got to make sure that we get them in position, that the game plan is simple enough that they can go play fast, that they've got the opportunity, they understand what we're asking them to do. Don't ask them to do too much, but then allow them to have their natural skill set go take over and go play in the moment of the first game. So big picture of embracing the opportunity, living in the moment, and then pouring all of our efforts into trying to play our A game for 3.5 hours on Saturday. And welcome the opportunity to line up with this group. I've got a lot of respect for Jason Simpson, the head coach at Tennessee Martin. I've known him for a long time, and he does a really good job with the program. But we'll finish up practice. We've got a morning practice again tomorrow. Thursday we'll do the same thing. Friday morning we'll have a short walkthrough and then get to the hotel. Friday afternoon then we're locked in and ready to go. So appreciate again you guys being here, and we'll open it up at this point.
Barry, other than opponent specifics, what's different about, or what are you looking for differently this week as opposed to training camp even last week?
Well, I think there's still some crossover work, and we'll continue. You know, I think lessons learned for me. There's some things that I didn't do last year that I thought affected us. We're going to continue to do throughout the next few weeks, anyway, 2 to 3 weeks for sure. On really throughout the course of practice, it's not all this going to be look squad work. You know, it's us against the scout team, so to speak. We're going to still line up and go 1s versus 1s and 2s versus 2s to get the speed that you need with that. Also to get the physicality that you need with it, but within that, practicing smart. So there's some things that we've changed a little bit with our practice habits that will continue on. There'll be a flavor of two-a-days or fall camp that we continue on over the next couple of weeks, but also making sure that you spend enough time game plan against the look squad or the scout team moving forward.
I know that earlier in camp you mentioned that Christian Holmes kind of had to overcome some mental hurdles kind of coming back from a season-ending injury. What specifically are kind of the things that guys have to overcome coming off an injury like that, and how is he maybe different now than he was early in camp?
Yeah, I think the trust factor, number one, on coming back from the surgery, trusting in himself, believing that he is healed and he's going to go up and make a tackle and his shoulder's going to be fine. I mean, that's a big part of it. And I recall, as a student athlete coming back from an ACL injury, you know, until you really get out and get in the moment, you know, and I knew that the procedure was done as perfect as it could. I knew Rex and his team had done such a great job in the program of the rehab, but then getting out and going through it and you know, testing it for yourself, just the self-confidence and belief that you've got to get back in that, because most of the guys, you know, the injuries that they have that they miss meaningful time, you know, that is one of the biggest hurdles, is just the mental side of it. Because some of them, it's the first time they've been hurt or had an injury or had a surgery. So the mental side of that for all of us, you know, coaching staff, making sure they stay involved with the team and the game plan, but also Rex does a great job along with Cutslow on providing them, you know, the mental rehab also to make sure that when they get back, not only physically but mentally and total person, they're ready to go play.
Coach, a lot of pressure and expectations with Drew Lock coming in this year. What have you seen from him in terms of his mindset and his preparation and just how he's approaching the senior year this year?
Yeah, I think we look at the way Drew's approached just about everything that I've known about him. He's very confident because he's prepared and he's done the work that he needs to put himself in position. I think the preseason accolades are awesome. I hope that the postseason accolades match up to what they are right now, because that means we played winning football. And Drew just needs to be Drew. He understands that. You know, he's got enough moxie to him that he's not going to let too much affect him. We've got to get 10 guys around him to play well. And then on the other side of the ball, we do that. You know, for any quarterback, that makes their job easier. So, you know, he understands that the things that we need out of that position. He understands the skill set, capabilities that he has, but also he's got to do it one play at a time and play smart ball, and he's going to do that.
Barry, I think you've got 6 true freshmen listed on your depth chart. Is that an indication that those guys you expect to play beyond, you know, the 4 games? And then also, what about Hansford and Jeffco?
Yeah, I think so at this point. You know, the 4 game built in for the possibility of redshirt the kid, that's great. It's a great rule that we pass as a committee and then the NCAA. It'll help the game of football. But also, you know, if we got those guys that play 4 games and then, you know, they're helping us win games, and we're not going to pull back and say, well, we've got to maintain the integrity of the 4-game thing. We're just going to keep rolling. Just like, you know, last year we ended up playing 13 true freshmen down the stretch. I think it worked well for us. Those guys went in and played well. There's a number of guys, and 2 that Gabe mentioned in our 2 defensive ends there. They've got a chance. I would expect them to play and probably play early. And they've done a nice job on understanding, you know, there's limited things that we've asked them to do at this point from a football IQ or knowledge standpoint of the playbook, the total playbook, but what they are asked to do and understand, they're doing it pretty well right now. So we got to get those guys continuing to coach them and prepare them to go play at a high level, and then get them in a game and see how they react.
After giving up 43 last year in Mo State, how motivated is this defense to start out maybe on a bit stronger foot this year?
I appreciate you bringing that up. And you know, obviously there's a lot of different motivations out there for why you want to play well. And if some guys use that as motivation for why we need to play better in game one, then I'm all for it. And you know, there's opportunities for us on making corrections on the reasons we didn't play well at times last year defensively, and then there's things that, you know, reasons and lessons you learn on when you did play well defensively. Let's eliminate the mistakes and try to give our team the greatest opportunity to go win the football game in playing sound defense.
Barry, when you look at that defense depth, talent, versatility, is it farther along now than it was anytime last year, or do you have to see it on Saturdays to know?
Well, I'd like to see Saturday, but up to this point, Dave, the way that Ryan and the defensive staff has put that plan together, really the closeness of the coaching staff, number one, the ability for them to work together defensively, the communication that you hear the players talking, you know, the checks they're making, all on the same page. They understand their responsibility, but also where they do or don't have help, so to speak, in some instances. We're at this point much better than we were at any point last year.
Coach.
Now we got to go do it, right?
Coach.
Nice haircut.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You might not like this, what I'm about to say to start off with here. Memphis lost the season opener in 2012 to UT Martin and beat them the next year.
I know, I was there.
I know.
Yeah,
I know tons of
thanks.
guys got to fly and all that, but
There was a rain delay, lightning delay. We're off the field for a long time. Yep, I know, I remember very well.
But you mentioned your respect for Coach Simpson. I'm just curious, what do you think he does well? What do you think? Sorry, what do you think the Memphis staff took away from 2012 game and used in the 2013 game?
You asked more than two questions there. I do have a lot of respect for Jason and his teams that I've watched, not just when I played them when I was at Memphis, but they're always very, very well coached. They play their tails off. They play with a chip on their shoulder, and schematically, he gets them in position to have advantages. And you know, the year, not 12, but 2000 and the next year that we played them, they went and they played an extra offensive lineman in the game the entire day. And you know, every time we went an odd front, they had a couple of changes they went through defensively or for them offensively. You know, he's got a good staff around him. We got a lot of respect for Jeep Wade, the guy that was with him, and you know, he left and now he's back with him. He hired him in the offseason. They're really good coaches, and they will come in ready to play their best game. There's no doubt about it.
Here, Jacob Trump is Kale's backup on the depth chart. Just what has he kind of done to emerge as the backup? And I know he's had about some injuries, I think, here in his career. Just how's he overcome that?
Yeah, you look at what Jake's done at the Mike backer, also in Jamal Brooks. Both those guys will rotate in there. I think they're Jake's ability to understand what we want out of that spot defensively, the assignments, the checks, and then doing it at real speed and game tempo. He's got it down. He understands the defense. He understands where he's supposed to be. He's played well. He's earned it. But Jamal's done the same thing. So both of those guys, I believe they're listed as or on the depth chart. They're going to both mix in there. You know, I don't know that we're in a spot that I want Cale Garrett or Brandon Lee or Therese Hall playing every snap of the game. So there's going to be times that by design we get those guys out for a couple snaps. But both of them understand what we need out of that spot. They understand how to get the front set, how to make the checks, and now we got to go do it in real life, you know, in a game environment.
Yeah, I know Daniel Parker was wearing a different number today, number 82. Is that maybe an indication that you are going to keep him at tight end for the foreseeable future?
Well, I think we looked at what we're going to ask him to do in that spot, and you know, Daniel, and I don't get into numbers much, jersey numbers. I know that's a shocker to you guys. When I came here, I was number 42 in high school, and that's what I wanted when I came here. And I went in, and they gave me number 39 and threw it to me, and I said, do I have a vote on this? And the guy looked at me and said no with a few other choice words, so I became 39. So Daniel came up to me the other day and said, Coach, I really don't like 96. And my response was about the same thing, but then also the mature side of me said, and what number do you want? And he said, well, what's available? So we went through the numbers that might be available here for a couple of weeks, and that's how he ended up in the number he is now. Now, is that going to mean that he's staying where he's at? I think for the next couple of weeks he's going to be right where he is, and he's provided a spark on being able to block the point of attack at that spot, and with the depth, the way that it is on the other side of the ball, I think he helps us quicker at the tight end spot. And credit to him. He has came in from the first day he stepped on campus in June, and he's just worked. He's poured himself into it. He's listened. He has accepted coaching, and then when we talked to him about moving over and helping us on that side of the ball, he said, "Coach, I'll do whatever I can to help this team." And that's pretty awesome. That's what you want, right? So I'm happy for him, and I think he's got a role to help us out.
Coach, Khalil Oliver came in middle of the summer and had to learn the playbook and came in with some experience from Oregon, but what's his presence been like, and what's the challenge been for him to be ready to play week 1 as a starter?
He is an older guy with some experiences. He played for a couple years at Oregon in the conference there, so he's seen a lot of things as far as the pass game and defending the pass. He was on their roster when they were in the national championship game, so he's been around a little bit. He doesn't get rattled by much, which has got a calmness about him. He's got a quiet confidence, but also he's been able to. He's very humble and been able to express his knowledge base and not afraid to ask questions. Our guys have embraced him on being a transfer and being a guy that's has worked his way into being a starting role right now. That's another spot that we're going to play a number of guys, and I think you look at that position for us, the importance that we need that position to play really well. He's got to be on point every snap.
I know it's a little more common now with the grad transfer rule, but Brandon Lee seems legitimately interested in pursuing a master's. What's it take for a guy to be able to do that and also be a starter and put the time into football? Yeah, you look at what Brandon has done, and I'm really, really proud of him. A guy that graduated in early, he got accepted into the MBA program at Mizzou. He's got a clear-cut plan on what he wants to do, and I think he's got a chance to play football past this year. I really do. He's a talented kid. He's intelligent, very driven, focused. He had an internship this past summer, the last 2 years with a group in St. Louis that he made connections, and I know, given the opportunity that they'd probably hire him as soon as he said he was done playing ball. He has the ability to communicate really, really well with others, no matter in what arena he's in. He understands his position, the playbook, and on top of that, he's been a leader for us within the conference at the SEC meetings. He's gone to the NCAA meetings with our academic side of things. Just as far as you look at the way you want guys to take care and take advantage of opportunities that are out there, he could write the book on that.
Any more questions for Coach? Anything? Yeah.
With the two backup quarterbacks, you look at them throughout the week, throughout the year. How do you kind of decide?
Yeah, it'll continue to go, and I think there's a little bit of qualities on every one of them, and even the guys that aren't listed on the depth chart there at that spot. But depending on what the game situation is who we would tend to put in there. So there's opportunities, and they both still need to get practice work, but we need to get them some live work too. So depending on the game situation and the type and where we are in the game and what the score is or isn't, would be dependent on kind of who we put in with the situation. But both guys have, Taylor has done a great job on making maybe the most strides up to this point. Micah has done a great job in, since we started fall camp on really trying to play within himself, not do too much, and he's really, really talented in the quarterback run game, but also the steps that he's made in being able to execute and run the entire offense. Really excited about what both of those guys can do for us.
Coach, from last year, preparation-wise, is there anything that you guys learned, especially during that 6-game stretch at the end of the year when things were clicking, that you think really carries over into preparation for this year? Well,
they understand that there's a process and habits of doing it the right way. And then if you do that, then when the ball's kicked off, you give yourself a chance. And if you don't do it leading up to that point, then you're leaving it to chance. And we don't like that opportunity for us. You know, our margin of error is still 0. We've got to have things in our favor. And for us, if we go and we prepare and do everything right up to that point, then we'll put ourselves in a position to go play our best ball. And you know, if we cheat the preparation, the process at any point during the week, then that allows you, you know, the opportunity and more times than not to be able to play your A game, just because you're not fully invested in what it takes to go play fast and play your best. Anything more? All right, Coach, we'll let you go there. Thank you. Have a great week. See you guys Saturday.